Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakatayawa, Brakatayawa Shai, Brakatayawa, Brakatayawa Shai, Brakatayawa, Brakatayawa Shai, the water, Abba, Bakar, Kadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone that teach this truth, which I believe through the prophecies line up with the scriptures, 100% of the truth. Let's do a quick lesson today. It's going to be titled Eve and Esau. And as I was driving in this one particular city here recently, and you see Eve out walking and out and about, and every time I see Eve, my visual eye gives me an image of Esau, Edom. And the reason I say that because when you look on, you look at them, and even if you think about even saying anything or try to speak to them, they have to realize they have that Esau mentality, that mindset that's been programmed and plugged into them. A lot of them, they're going to, shoot you the cold face, or, they scrowl their face up if they think you're trying to speak to them, or any type of gesture, And a lot of our women have been so blindsided in thinking that the men of her nation is an enemy, and so they end up siding with Esau, Edom. She's the one that's now, that's kicking the father out the house and is birthing a nation of she's the one that gave birth to this nation of niggas that we have today, and we right now, it's been going on since the 60s, the 1960s, that they've been putting the man out of the household. And so you got these generation after generation, and now you got the byproduct what we have today, man. These sexy reds, these glorrillas, and these type of these drill artists, these gang affiliate type dudes that all into the gang culture and all that. That shit comes from Esau, Edom, and which he projected and put into Eve, man, the nigger woman. So when I see Eve, automatically in my mind's eye, I see Esau, Edom. And they have become confederate with each other. They are quick to chastise and supervise Jake like he is a child of hers. So even when Esau, Edom was not, around, he can always count on Eve, to keep Jake in check, she's going to call the police, if he's not doing what she required him to do. She's going to supervise him like he's her child, and all these things go against what the Bible tells, what her position is supposed to be. So she has become like the heathen. And she has become also an adversary to her nation, because these byproduct with kids, this generation that she's producing, that's destruction to our nation, man. She sold her children out to the devil by sacrificing her newborns to Moloch. And one way of sacrificing is all these abortions that these women are doing, man. They're going out here and putting these kids to death in their womb. I think an Israelite child has maybe a 50% chance. It could be higher than that. I could be off, but I know it's a high number of Israelite child has a less than 50% chance of being born and being put to death inside an Israelite woman's stomach, So she's really destroying our nation. These kids, that the Lord has given life to inside the womb, she's already destroying them in the womb, because she's siding with Esau, Edom, man. She believes in this plan, of destruction, of destroying the Israelite child out of her selfishness, and it goes all the way back to Eve being in the garden. The so-called Christian women try to convert a lot of these Jakes, men, and bring them to Esau's plantation. When Jake, these women get into the churches, and they try to convert these Jakes and pull them out whatever they're doing, and she's steadily trying to bring them back onto the plantation, man. So you go by with the plans and the rules, and she raised her male child the same way. She raised that male child by by pretty much castrating him or effeminizing him. That way, he's not going to go against Esau's system, man. He's not going to have the power in him to stand up against Esau's system, man. Therefore, she creates the perfect slave to the system. And then one thing they do, really, we should be educating and, raising our own kids. But Eve, she's so caught up in the system that she sends her kids, to these indoctrination centers to be indoctrinated by Esau Edom, these schools, with these Edomite teachers and doctors and all these things that manipulate the minds of our kids, man. That blends them into this heathen society. So if things really ran right, well, women would be educating our own kids. We would have our women in position to do that. But the women that we do have in position to do that, they still do it in favor of Esau Edom, man, to build up his society. Her young boys, she emasculates, she effeminizes them, man. So the young Jakes of our nation, you see this new generation out now, man, they're effeminate as hell, man. They quick to run to gain culture for protection and, not being able to stand on their own. They quick to go out here and pull a gun and shoot over some bullshit, man. Instead of facing things as a man, as a man's supposed to do. They have effeminate characteristics in these young Jakes that's being raised up under these Eves, man, especially in these project communities. You see it every day, man. These young Jakes soft as hell, but they quick to pull a gun and to delete somebody. Gonna go to the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. Now this is really going into something else, but it fits perfectly with Eve, man. Eve and Esau Edom, man. They made an agreement together, and that goes back to 1960 when they created the I forget the name of the act, under Lyndon B. Johnson, where in order for the women to receive any type of assistance, housing assistance, which they give them Section 8. At that time, they call it food stamps, but I think they call it EBT now. In order to receive these assistance, Eve pretty much had to not have a husband in the house, not have a man in the house. That fell right into the plan of Esau Edom, man, to destroying our nation, and Eve sided along with it. First they took the jobs out of the communities, so Jake didn't really have much of an opportunity to gain anything, and then they implement these rules to convince Eve to remove Jake out of the house, man, and allow Esau Edom to take over the household, and therefore he can control the kids, So it was a masterful plan, and then all done from the left-hand side. The Lord allowed it to happen so that the Lord could mark all these peoples for destruction for the day. 2/3 of our people going to be destroyed right along with the heathen. Second precept we're going to go to is out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God Yahweh had made. And he said unto the woman, Ye hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. What did the Lord tell Adam and Eve, man? He said, don't eat of the certain tree of the garden. And this is allegorical, man. It's not, not really a serpent. It's not really talking about fruit from the tree. It's talking about the serpent is talking about, another nation, man, who has the characteristics of a serpent. And that fruit that's coming from the tree is talking about their philosophies, their ways of doing things, So he got into the mind of Eve and convinced her to follow the ways of the heathen. And therefore now we at the position that where we at now, man. And that goes all the way back from Eve, way back then, to the modern day Eve now. She still constantly listens to that serpent, Esau Edom, man. And constantly bringing sin and destruction to our people. And don't get me wrong, it ain't all on Eve. A lot of Jakes went off too. That was the main thing. Adam, first of all, should have never listened to Eve, because because he was the one that's dealing directly with the Most High power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Next one will come out of 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14. Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. So Adam wasn't deceived, but the woman being deceived. But she went on to convince Adam to listen to the serpent, man, and therefore they both end up going off. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. But I suffer a woman not to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So, that's far cry from what our women are today, man. Our women of today, man, they won't be silent. They loud as hell. You can't tell them nothing, and you're gonna get an argument if you try to correct any of these Eves, man. And many of them will come to you and try to put hands on you, And then as soon as you put hands on them, first thing they're gonna go and call their daddy Esau, Edom, man. They're gonna call 911, and he's automatically gonna take the side of Eve, and that's why most jakes end up getting locked up. So Eve really have this superiority complex over you jakes, man, thinking that she can be in a position of power over her jakes because the society allows it, man. Matter of fact, it encourages it, and that's why you have all this turmoil that's going on in the household where Eve is bucking up against her man of her house, man. And anytime Jake's tried to correct her or do things, or make a decision outside of not getting her permission, she gonna go to hell off, and then she know the court's gonna side in her favor. She's gonna get custody of the kids 9 times out of 10. She can end up with the house, she can end up with most of Jake earnings, and that's the way, the society has set it up, man, to empower the women over the men. But scripture tells us a woman, if she is, I suffer not a woman to teach nor assert authority over the man. The Lord has an order that how things are supposed to be. A man is supposed to be over the woman. A woman is supposed to be a helpmeet to the man, Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 22. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. And that's a lot of our women today, man. Mainly, not really all the kingdoms, but mainly in the southern kingdom women. Talking about you nigger women, man. You Judite women, the women of here in Americas, man. The black woman. You find a lot of Jakes work, come home, and they got to come home to a rebellious ass woman, man. She'll listen to and she'll follow the ways of Esau, Edom, lock, stock, and barrel. She won't buck up against him, but as soon as her husband come in the house, she lets loose on him, man. She can go to her job all day long and follow whatever rules Esau, Edom laid out in front of her, and she can do it cordially. But anytime she got to deal with her husband, man, he got to catch hell if he try to make a decision of the household, man. Any decision that's dealing with the kids, he got to go through her, and she gonna buck up and cause all type of confusion in the house. And then the kids see this, so a lot of these men are still in the household. They still don't have power over their household because their power has been stripped of them by this system that's created by Esau, Edom. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 56. The tender and delicate women among you, which would not adventure to set sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness, and that's how women used to be. It's not how women are today. They're far cry from that. You can look at these videos with these sexy reds and these degenerate chicks up there, Glorilla, and it's so many, it's hard to keep count. It goes all the way back up to Lil' Kim. Her eyes shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, and towards the son, and towards her daughter. So a lot of these Eves, these women of our nation today, man, they really on this selfish tip. All they think about is themselves and them getting the bag by any means, whether it means sacrificing or destroying her family. It doesn't matter to her. As long as she come up, she don't think about the next and future generation. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 3. Even the sea monsters draw out the beasts. Shalaki. Even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughters of my people is become cruel, like an ostrich in the wilderness. So Eve don't give a fuck about her kids, man. Like I said, she'll kick the man out of the house. She'll go with Esau, Edom's system. Many of them don't even want to have kids nowadays. They rather just worry about their own selves, and because all they want to do is worry about their career and follow in the ways of Esau, Edom. She's become cruel like the ostrich in the wilderness. Like an ostrich when she lay her eggs, when she dropped them off into the dust, man, she gone. She kicking it. She'll come back and stomp over the eggs, and crush her own eggs. And that's what it's referring to our women being like the ostrich in the wilderness. Job chapter 39, verse 16 and 17. She is hardened against her young ones as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear, because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. So she don't have wisdom and understanding. She couldn't see that the snake in the Garden of Eden was trying to deceive her, man. Was manipulating her. She didn't have the wisdom in order to be able to see that. He knew to go to her before he came to the man, because once he convinced her, she would go back and end up convincing Adam. And same thing with today, man. They don't come after the man like that. They go after our women. They end up convincing the women to fall for these things. Same thing with the time of C-19. Who the main ones they went after? They went after the women to coax the men into going out there to take that jump shot. Same way they go after the women during the time of these political elections. And they got one that's coming up now. Who the first ones they go after? Eve, man. They go convince Eve where she gonna go home and give her man hell. Even they even put out a commercial where it's telling Eve not to give your man sex unless he go out there and vote. So it tells you the power, man, how this devil works, man, to convince the mind of Eve, women, because as Scripture tells us, because God hath deprived her, talking about Yahweh, has deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. That's why she's supposed to have a man over her at all times, from her father, and then her father relinquishes her to her husband, to keep her guided, keep her, in line, to keep her straight. Because if not, without these checks and balances, man, you go to hell off. And that's why we have what we have today in this society, man. Go to these all black communities, man, these ghetto communities, which ran by Eve, man, which then took the men out of the household or devalued the man out of the household. Because them jakes that's in them households now that's running them, that's them jakes that's been created by these Eves, man. That's them same niggas that Eve produced, all the way from the 60s. And we have what we hear today. That's why the Lord said he's created a generation to be destroyed, man. This generation we have now is that one that's going to be baptized with the fire, man. With them ICBM missiles and those when them chariots come down and drop those laser beams. We're going to go to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 6 through 7. For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. And that's why you hear Elder Apostle Gabar Elder Apostle Gabar and Elder Apostle Tahar always saying, these church houses are, when the Bible tells you they harlot houses, man. So once the Eves done went out here and ran the streets for about 20 to 30 years, then they ready to settle down and go into the church house. They done been through many men and, had all type of rods that ran up in them. Now they ready to go to the church house. And they're easily deceived by these false pastors, man, with that slave Christian mentality, which they're going to lead these women astray, man. And same thing with the C-19 jump juice, man. They go to the churches, and the first thing the churches said, instead of warning them not to take the jungle juice, he led them right to the trap, to the slaughter, man. And same thing now, like the Elder Apostle Tar was saying, when they bring out this charagma, which you're going to have to see that MOTB, they're going to use the church houses to convince Eve that it's a good thing. So the church is going to say, no, that's not what they're talking about in Revelations 12, verse 13. And a lot of these going to fall for it, man. They're going to fall for the okey doke again. Because they're going to use these pastors that leave captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, man. And a lot of these pastors, man, they call them, what they call them, pimp house pimps or whatever, or damn, what's the name for them? Church house pimps, or pull pulpit pimps or whatever. A lot of those, women in there trying to get with the pastors. They see these pastors, how they drive the nice cars, and which they paid for. The congregation is paid for. A nice house which they live outside of the community. And a lot of those women want to be the first woman, or they want to take the first woman's spot. Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 5. They have built also high places of Baal, and burned their sons with fire and burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither come into my mind. So like I said, Eve, she sacrificed her children, man, every day, when she's sacrificing them to this wicked ass music and shit they got these kids listening to. I did a video was talking about where this one Eve, she's teaching ballet, and all the 4, 5, 6-year-old kids know all these wicked ass songs, man. And the parents are encouraging that. And so they sacrificing these kids, man, because they don't give a fuck about these kids, All they worry about is their come up. And like I said, through the abortions, most Eves done had about 10 or a dozen abortions, man, 10 to 12 abortions, Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 35. And they built the high places of Baal, which are the valley and son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Moloch, which I commanded them not, neither came into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin. So it's been going on way back then during the time of Jeremiah, man, that even, men and women, they sacrifice these kids to these gods, man. And they do it today, man, to these false gods, man. Shalaki, to these false gods, man. They do the same thing today, man. When they go out and have these abortions, they go out here and turn these kids over to this wicked ass culture that we have today. They go in the house and turn the TVs on, and they put that filth on the TVs and allow the kids to sit right there and watch it, man. They play that filthy, vile, abominable music while these kids ride in the car, man. The kids hear that shit. They pick up on it. A lot of them encourage the kids to listen to it, man. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 31. And they have built the high places of Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commended them not. They came it into my heart. And you go all the way back to Margaret Sanger, which was an Edomite devil, man, she devil, man, and she was the one that said that she looked at these talking about you Jakes, man, as being weeds, man, that need to be exterminated. She was the one that promoted and pushed that abortion shit, on the people, and our people fell for it, Margaret Sanger, look her up. And that's why you find today a lot of these abortion clinics are in Jake communities, man. And you see over in Africa they pushing that, that sinful shit all over there, man. To tell people that it's better off to kill that child in the womb than bringing it to a world. Than bringing it into this world, man. They convince the women out of mind, take care of your work on your career, and you can go out here and abort this child. So a lot of these girls in college, they have 2 or 3 abortions while they're in college, while they're trying to get their degrees so they can go out here and try to start their career. So Eve has been mine has totally been contaminated, man, under Esau, Edom. They convinced her that destroying what's in her, what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai has created her in her womb is something that should be destroyed, man. And same thing in the time of Egypt, man. when they told the midwives to kill all the male children of Israel that were being born, during that time. They told the midwives that was a decree that was put out by the Pharaoh. So same thing today, man. They put it into the mind of our women to go out here and to abort these young kids, man. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18. The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle a fire, and the women need their dough, to make cakes to the queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto the gods, that they may provoke me to anger. And it's talking about the queen of heaven, and it's going into something else, where they have the idol worship, where you find a lot of places, mainly in the southern kingdom, where they worship Yahweh mother, Mary, man. And that's kind of what that's talking about there. But still, this society pushes a queen of heaven type of worship, man. They put the woman high up, where above the man, and where she's not supposed to be. And that's why you have a chaotic, confused ass society, what we have today, man. You have these women in position of authority over the men, and they're making decisions, man. And like I said, the Lord says He deprived her of wisdom and understanding. So how in the hell she's in position over a man and to make these decisions? That's why she's making a decision out here to abort these young children, the young jakes in her womb, man. They push that shit all down into the southern kingdom and to the women of the northern kingdom, but mainly you southern kingdom jakes, man, y'all eat that shit up, man. Y'all have many abortions, man, destroying the next generation of our kids. So the Lord's have to come back and destroy you women, man. Majority of our women are going to meet the fire, man. They're going to make up a great portion of that 2/3. But those women that want all, that's not following the ways of the heathen, and following the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah, man. You're going to be very well rewarded when the kingdom do come, man. When all hell break loose, the Lord is going to gather you up. You're going to be protected in that time. But a lot of these Jake women, these Israelite women, they're going to be destroyed, man, and rightly so. Yeah, they are definitely fit for destruction, man. So Eve, you see Eve's out here. Most of them, they have the mindset of Esau, Edom. You look at this Eve, you might as well see Esau, Edom, the man. They're more in line with him than they are of the men of our nation. So with that being said, man, all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah. I pray this lesson edifying with that. Say shalom.